Hey everyone, Tim Schofield here. And as soon as I got the Galaxy S10 Plus, I popped my SIM card in there and I've been using it for the past week. And I'd like to give some further impressions on this latest flagship from Samsung. I've also been a little under the weather this past week, so I feel like I've been using my phone even more than I already do. So I actually have a good amount of thoughts on this phone. So let's go ahead and get started on 1 week impressions with the Galaxy S10 Plus. First of all, when it comes to design, this is definitely one of the better looking phones I have ever used. I really like the prism white color. There's a slight color shift when hitting different colors, just a different hue to the back of it, but also noticing that even when I look closely at the glass back, I don't see my fingerprints. So that is one way to really combat it with a white phone. And then of course there's that hole punch display on the front of the phone. Dual cameras on the S10 Plus. And overall, I like it a lot better than I do the notch display. It took me a little bit to get used to these icons up here. However, once I got used to those, I really like the aesthetics way more than a notch on a phone. Now, when it comes to video watching, it really depends on how you consume your content. If you consume it in 16:9, you will see it really doesn't matter that there's a hole right there. However, of course, on YouTube, you can actually pinch to zoom and it will crop that video and you will see it completely covers the entire display, however crops out some of the video. So it's up to you if you'd like to do that, but you will see that then, of course, when watching the video, the hole punch comes into play. I don't find that to be too big of a nuisance at all. And then here is an 18:9 aspect ratio video. So you'll see it looks a little weird with that cutout, and then if I pinch to zoom, it only crops a small amount. So it's definitely worth it to crop out an 18:9 video. However, with 16:9, it does crop out a decent amount of video. So a lot of times with 16:9, I just find I watch it with the black bars on the left and right side. And finally, here's a 21:9 aspect ratio video. So you'll see it will kind of cut off where that camera actually is. And with 21:9, you cannot pinch to zoom in on YouTube. Now, if you don't like that cutout design, there's actually a way to get rid of it. Also notice I am using dark mode with One UI, which I am a huge fan of. But you can go into full screen apps and check hide front camera. So now in all apps, and even on the home screen, that camera is hidden. It will actually completely cut it out. In my opinion, this looks really bad. But hey, if you really don't like that cutout, you have the option to hide it. So enough about how gorgeous this phone actually is. I'd like to talk about usability and a problem that has actually come up due to the minimal curved bezels. Now, I'm a big fan of the curved bezels, the way the content just spills off the display. I've said that since the first curved screen I have used. Now, the big thing, because these are so minimal, I have noticed that when I'm using my phone, maybe with two hands, watching a full screen video, playing a game, I will accidentally touch the sides just barely with probably the inside of my thumb most of the time. So what I'm trying to do is actually get used to adjusting my hand position when holding this phone. The big time I'm noticing it is because, of course, I have the edge display right here, or the edge swipe. If you press and hold on it, you can actually readjust it, and that will actually pop up randomly when I'm just holding the phone, so I know it's registering my accidental side touches. So that is just one thing I've ran into, and I realized that I will need to just readjust my grip and relearn, because this is the first time this has actually come up, and over the past week it has still happened. So hopefully by the time my review comes out, which will be very soon, I have determined whether or not I can actually train myself to not do that. I have also been a big fan of One UI so far, definitely Samsung's best overlay of Android. One thing I really like is that media volume indicator within apps is actually right above the content, so it actually doesn't cover up the content nearly as much as it used to. As you can see, just that really small icon up towards the top. Nice addition by Samsung. I know it's very simple, but they have also added a double tap to wake. About time Samsung has actually added that. And overall, I have been a fan of the fingerprint scanner, still getting used to the exact position when the display is off, but I'm getting better and better at actually unlocking my phone without looking. Now, when it comes to the camera, you guys are gonna have to give me a little bit more time with it. I would like to test it out in various scenarios a little bit more, so a lot more to come in my full review, of course, but I do wanna talk about a couple things in terms of that camera app. Now, first of all, you can actually turn the scene optimizer on and off with just a simple button right there. I'm really glad they added that. That is one thing I missed on the Note 9 and other phones that do have the scene optimizer. Also, I actually shared this on my Twitter, but I want to show it off in this video, and watch the dual cameras on the front when you switch to the front-facing camera. There's just a nice little animation with the screen showing off that it's switching, which leads me to believe that they can add things such as maybe when you get a notification, a ring will pop up around it, but also watch what happens when you set up a timer on your front-facing camera, or if you go ahead and hold your finger up for palm swipe to capture, you will see it will have a little timer, and when it actually completes that circle, it will take the picture. So really nice addition and utilizing that screen around the dual camera. You can also enable gestures, which really uses that full screen. If you swipe up from the bottom left, it will go to your recent apps. If you go ahead and swipe up from the bottom middle, it will go home. And then if you swipe up from the bottom right, it will go back. You can also swipe up and pause from the middle to activate an assistant, whether it's Google Assistant or Bixby, your choice. Now, one thing I've noticed is that they're really not as fluid as I would like them to be. So if I go into an app and I want to quickly swap between apps, I just swipe right real quick on that middle button, and I'm actually getting better at it. But what I found was at the beginning, it would actually skip over one of the apps and not quickly swap. And you'll see I'm doing a very good job at it now. So that took some time to get used to before I was maybe holding it a little bit too long or something. But right now I'm actually doing a pretty good job. And then if I swipe up, it will automatically go to the next app that was previously used. So you can't swipe up twice to actually quickly swap between apps. So if I go home, swipe up, it will go to the recently used app. If I go into it and then quickly swipe right, it will go into the app I used previously. So that's one way you can actually quick swap between apps, but for me, it took a little bit of time to get used to that gesture. Within settings, digital well-being is there, so you can turn on wind down to turn on a completely black and white UI if you so choose, and just see your phone usage over time. Now, when it comes to battery life, I have been extremely impressed. I want to talk about it more in my full review, a little bit more in depth, but overall this will easily get me through a full day and then some. So that's all I'm going to say for now, but overall definitely better battery life than the Galaxy Note 9 for sure. So overall, those are my 1 week impressions with the Galaxy S10 Plus. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to click that thumbs up button. Be sure to subscribe as well. Review coming very soon. I will actually get my review up before the phone actually launches, so stay tuned for that. And as always, guys, thank you very much for watching.